flew to Budva, Montenegro and told them your government sucks. And actually, it was funny. I ended up on the newspaper the very next day because I was supposed to have a casual cultural day, just exploring the mountainside of Montenegro, which is beautiful in the winter.
It's beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And I had a sweater on, like a Ralph Lauren sweater. It had white sleeves and like a black middle. Kind of looked like an orca whale, but at the time I looked pretty good. And they put that on the front cover of the paper saying American businessman wears pajamas with heads of state.
Welcome to Extraordinary Stories. I'm your host, Forbes Shannon. With me today is my co-host,
Aaron Bear.
And we're really excited for you to meet our guest that we have in studio here today. He's the money man. He's the freedom man. He's a jack of all trades. And no pun intended, Austin Jack. Austin,
That's right.
Thanks for being here, man.
Happy to be here, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Man. We go way back. We both nominated you. It was actually a race to see who could nominate you first.
Love that. Aaron beat you to it. I did get the text from him.
Well, you know, he's a procrastinator. We know that. We know that he's a procrastinator, but he does get things done. It just takes a while to get started. So.
We were both just like, you know, looking at our networks, who's extraordinary that we need to showcase first. Obvious choice for you. But let's unpack it. How do we know each other?
You know, Aaron and I go back, I think, about 10 years now. We met through one of our billionaire contacts, and really kind of hit the ground running from there. Obviously, if you know a billionaire, you've got a network. So it was exciting to learn more about Aaron's and mine and see where it overlaps. And then we started doing some business together, you know, working with different clients and things over the last 10 years. And Forbes, you and I now have been friends, colleagues, and you helped me with my book, getting it published and marketed and everything.
Right up there. Aaron, will you Vanna White it?
That's right.
Funding freedom right here.
Yes.
On Amazon and at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Online. It's funny, actually, my wife, when I first told her it's at Barnes & Noble, she drove there to see if it was on the stacks, and she called me. She goes, "Hey, I'm looking around and I can't find it." And I'm like, "Hey, it's online." And she goes, "Oh, okay, well, I've been telling everybody it's in the store." And I said, "Well, let's not do that anymore."
Well, no, but if enough people go in and say, "I want this book," it will be in all those stores.
No, I got a little trick. And now I'm kind of exposing myself. But if you order them to the bookstore, but then don't get them picked up, then they put them out.
Honestly, I should order like 1,000 and just have them create a whole cutout of me and everything.
Or call them up and say you want to hold a book signing at all your local ones, and then you'll bring the books in, and then they'll consign them. It's the same with we did that at our book launch too.
Yeah, changing hands.
Changing hands.
Mm-hmm.
So.
In all honesty, kidding aside, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
More authors should follow.
I used to just order them like crazy. You know?
Yeah.
I was like, if they're in store, then someone else is going to see them and they're going to pick them up.
Aaron and I went to DC because Exponential Theory, we got a notice that it was in the Library of Congress. So we went to the Library of Congress and we walked in and we're like, we're here to see our book.
We had to get a congressperson to get us in the Library of Congress.
Yeah. And then they get us in and we're like, hey, you know, there's like a book specialist, right? They know all, and we're in like the rare books section, you know, like 1,000-year-old books. We're like, we want to see Exponential Theory. And they're like, yo, that's in the basement, dude.
No, it was in another building and
it's been archived.
It's actually out of DC now. It's like
it was humbling for
in
sure.
Guantanamo Bay.
But you've Austin, you've been telling a lot of awesome stories in your book Funding Freedom, but also on your podcast, The American Conversation. Like, what's the life like of a storyteller?
Honestly, fascinating. If you were to ask me 10 years ago, how did you end up here? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I like to talk to people, and that honesty and transparency you bring to conversations where I'm not trying to bullshit anybody, it lends itself to a wider network, more opportunities. It's the reason why I helped build rubber manufacturing facilities in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's the reason why I flew to Budva, Montenegro and told them your government sucks. And actually, it was funny. I ended up on the newspaper the very next day because I was supposed to have a casual cultural day, just exploring the mountainside of Montenegro, which is beautiful in the winter.
It's beautiful.
And I had a sweater on, like a Ralph Lauren sweater. It had white sleeves and like a black middle. Kind of looked like an orca whale, but at the time I looked pretty good. And they put that on the front cover of the paper saying American businessman wears pajamas with heads of state. And I'm like, I had no idea the picture was going to be posted anywhere. So a lot of good times, but to your question, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Austin, how did you get started? Like, what got you on the path you're on? Because obviously you have had an extraordinary career and you have extraordinary stories. We're looking to those, but what got you started on this journey?
Yeah.
Fourth grade,
He knows it.
That was like a left turn, fourth grade.
Yeah,
Fourth grade.
let's go back, just out of Pampers. And I switched from a traditional Catholic school to a public school. And Catholic schools, they don't have like student council. They don't have like student government or something.
What do they have?
Nothing.
Okay.
So it's still ruled by the church. But
they have nuns and rulers.
It's as far as I know, there was no student government. And so I switched to public school, and my mom was like, you should think about running for student council. And I'm like, okay, well, what's student council? And she said, well, it's people that make decisions on activities you do. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
So in fourth grade, you're eligible for one position. It's the sergeant at arms, and it's a glory.
There's a sergeant of arms in fourth grade.
Sergeant at arms.
That sounds like all schools need that.
Yeah. So what is sergeant at arms actually?
What do they do?
Is this the word job?
Wait, where'd you go? What city is this? Where'd you go to school?
This is in Elk Grove, California. I went to Franklin Elementary, which in the middle of nowhere. They were just starting to build up this community. So the classrooms were actually like portable trailers that you went to school in.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so like old school.
So mom pulled you out of Catholic school to go to the trail.
Yeah, to age myself. Well, the nuns didn't like me. They were like, you're questioning too many things, young man. So it was perfect for me. And so I learned about Sergeant at Arms, and it's like a glorified attendance person. I'm basically saying, okay, did everybody show up to the meeting? Okay. And my job is done.
Nice.
So,
but you won.
But I won.
You ran and won.
I ran against
one for one. That's better than
that was pretty
99% of politicians.
Yes.
Right,
what was your platform?
I didn't have one. So I ran against. Nobody knows me at this school.
Right.
We had just moved from another community.
Oh, so you're the new kid as well.
I'm the new kid as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But
this is a move. This is a move.
It had the longest list of candidates because all fourth graders were like, I'm going to be the attendance maker.
Right.
Like, okay, cool for you. I'm doing this because my mom recommended it. And so I get up there, and I forget who was running for president at the time, or it wasn't even a president. It was like a senator or something. And I had seen his speech on the news, and he pointed at the people and he said, I know there's going to be a lot of names on that ballot, but I need you to vote for me. And I was like, that's pretty good. So in my speech, I wrote that as my concluding sentence. I need you to vote for me, Austin Jack, for Franklin Elementary's Sergeant at Arms. And I won because of the slogan. And it was so funny because the next year, every single candidate pointed to the audience. It was like I started a movement of let's use our hands and not.
Now, how many politicians have come out of Franklin Elementary now?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because of your movement towards this.
I mean, probably a lot.
The next wave.
Inspirational.
We're going to have Austin back just to find the talent.
Yeah. We need to find out. But so it started there. I got my foot in running a campaign, and at that time it was making a poster was like, and talking with people, being the new kid on the block, introducing this is who I am. And on all honesty, the actual meetings, I liked the dialogue so much that I told my parents, I want to be president of the United States in fourth grade. And so
you still got a chance.
I do, but I don't think I want to do it.
That's not off the table.
Nothing's ever off the table.
We want to have a future president of the United States on our podcast.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
You're extraordinary.
But the next several years of my life, it's like I'm getting deeper into politics. I'm running for student council every year. I'm starting to physically attend city council meetings of local government because my history teachers, and when they were really teaching American history, they said, you can get extra credit if you go sit in a meeting and take notes. So I did it.
Right.
And
extra credit, Austin.
Yeah. I just was fascinated, man. And over time that evolved, went to college, really got involved in actual campaigns and student government at ASU yet again, and started working for public affairs firms. And through the course of that, just met a lot of interesting people and understood that these politicians at the end of the day, they may be one person on camera, but they're a father, they're a mother, they're a wife, a husband, a brother, whatever it may be. Outside of that, and you kind of see them through a different lens where I found a lot of them relatable, and I said, let me help you.
Oh, okay. So you shift from being the candidate to working
with them. Yeah. And what's interesting about that, a lot of people don't recognize, is the candidates are the ones in front of the camera, but there is a team of people just like me behind them that are writing every single word, that are deciding every single movement you make. That's why in most movies you see it, politicians have like entourages behind them.
Yeah.
Those entourages are people like me, political consultants, advocates, grassroots managers, and a fundraiser is hiding somewhere, which is what I am now.
A fundraiser is hiding somewhere. I love that you said that like that. Fun fact, I had a class that was right during when I wanted to do comedy at ASU.
Yeah.
So I made a deal with the professor as a political science class. I was like, how can we make this work where I don't have to come to class and I still get an A? He said, you run for city council, I'll give you an A. So I run for city council of Tempe. And then like reporters started calling me and asking me questions. And I was like, all right, this joke's gone way too far. I'm going to get myself canceled here.
Yeah. That's a great professor.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Oh, I think he was just like, okay, kid, you know. And then
you really did it.
Yeah, he runs into me on campus. I'm collecting signatures. He's like, you're doing this. I was like, you don't understand how much I like stand-up comedy. I got to go do this show, man. So a fundraiser's hiding somewhere. Well, it's interesting, and you write about this in your book as a, you won the election in 4th grade just because you asked. And the number one reason you say fundraisers people don't make money is because they don't ask.
Yep.
So what is an ask, and like, how do you help people with that?
So it is just that I'm asking you for money. We've all asked for money before. It's the same thing when you go to your parents when you're a kid and you say, give me a couple bucks to go to the movies. Whenever I do workshops and seminars, it's the first thing that I say is, how many of you have been a fundraiser before? Some people raise their hands, and I say, how many people have asked their parents for money before? Everybody's hands go up because it's like, okay, you can do this. It's just instead of asking for $10, you're adding a couple more zeros, and maybe it's $100 or $1 million. But that's really what it is, and it's kind of the psychology of fundraising. People are just so scared to ask for that level of money. And what I try to teach in the book and all the trainings I do and with all of my clients is it's not that serious. It's you have a mission that needs to be funded. In order for that mission to succeed, you've got to have the investment from people who can afford it. And it's not people that are making $100,000 a year or, median income levels. These are ultra high net worth folks that have established companies. They've built family offices. They've built empires. The Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos of the world. You're asking them for serious, serious capital. And in order to do that, you probably have anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to accomplish that. And I always tell people that stop going to dinners, stop going to coffees, stop going to Broadway shows. I've done that just to get a donor to give me money, and I'll never do it again. 4 hours of it, him and his wife are crying at the end at how beautiful it was. And I'm sitting in the back with a glass of wine going, I have no idea what I just watched. This is actually the founder of Disney Channel, which is kind of funny. But it baffles me that people that are running nonprofits today, they don't know how to ask. So I help them overcome that fear. And teach them how to ask with conviction. Be honest, be transparent, build that level of trust through the pitch you're giving them. And that at the core of everything I do, I always say, freedom isn't free, it's funded. So let's go find you the money to maintain it. Obviously, I work with a specific type of clientele that's trying to restore America's founding principles. But I've also worked with Democrats too. Everybody across the political spectrum deserve to have money because every mission is valuable to the individual or to a collective group of people. It's just a matter, how do you talk about that and how do you ask for money to fund it?
Now, Aaron, you've raised like a bunch of money for companies and startups. Like, do you see a lot of similarities in the same thing?
Oh, 100%. I think I go back to your 4th grade analogy is, most of what we learn as kids is not to talk to strangers, don't ask for money, all the things. Like you could do all the things that
they drill it into you.
They drill it into you, and then you get out in the real world and you realize all the successful people are doing just the opposite of that. And that's ever since I met Austin, I've seen him. Well, one, we've participated in huge forums that you put together, with numbers of Congress people and
U.S. Chamber of Commerce,
U.S. Chamber. We've done things for moms in the military. So we've had a lot of different initiatives, but how do you choose who you work with when you're out there looking in the marketplace? Because your time's valuable. And what are the clients? What does a client look like to you?
Great question.
And what do you want from a client?
Yeah. So the two things I look for is, first and foremost, can you actually do this? And I can usually tell by however the person is referred to me. I really operate off referrals from both donors and heads of organizations who have worked with me and understand he's authentic, he's transparent, he'll help you raise some money, but you've got to put in the work because I physically cannot hold your hand in that meeting. And oftentimes for various reasons and conflicts of interest, I can't even go to the meeting. You're going to be there by yourself. So the first question I ask the CEO is, what's the largest amount of money you've ever asked for? And if I don't like the answer, we wrap the call up pretty quickly. Because
what's that number? What's that number?
Yeah, what's an answer you like?
I mean, an answer for me is I've asked for a handful of six-figure gifts.
Okay.
That's good. That's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good enough. If you say, I really don't ask, we can't work together. Right? Because already I'm going to have to help you overcome that, and it's going to be really difficult. So I've had referral calls where I'm on for 6 minutes, and then sometimes I make an excuse.
Really?
I say, I got to run. I'd love to follow up via email. Let me send you some free resources. I always try to point people to free resources because working with me is an investment. You're investing in your own success because I work with people that are ready to scale, that are ready to grow, not wounded birds, as I call them. Like if you've, I used to get a ton of wounded birds, and I loved
stepped over one walking up here. It's so funny how the world works.
Well, and did you pick it up and put it in a box?
No.
It's like fundraising because that's what you got to do.
Going. You act like you didn't see it. You just
it's like I really appreciate your time, but good luck. But yeah, they've just got to be willing to make that ask. And I want to know that they've done it at least once. It doesn't have to be $1 million. You don't have to sit with a billionaire. You don't even have to be successful at getting the 6 figures, but I at least want to know you've tried before.
So Austin, what makes you different? I mean, there's a lot of people in your business. I've obviously met a lot of them. You stand out to me.
For sure.
But in your mind,
but we don't know why.
Yeah, we don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think 2 factors. I have an incredible network. I owe everything to my network. I mean, everybody I know, every donor, every activist, every politician, they have gained some sort of valuable insider support from me that has said, I want to recommend to help you. And vice versa, I help them. I'm a massive network just like you guys are. I want to connect people that I think can do cool and creative things, even if they don't recognize it themselves. And so what makes me different is I'm no bullshit. I will give it to you exactly as it is. And unlike a lot of other consultants, I am actively fundraising. Every single day, I myself am meeting with donors and asking them for money, whereas a lot of other consultants have retired from that. They're no longer fundraising with donors. They might have, quote, relationships where I'm going to go visit Joe Bob, the billionaire, once a year for coffee for an hour. But that doesn't make you a good fundraiser.
Yeah.
What makes you a good fundraiser is I am firsthand meeting with these individuals, asking for 6 and 7 figures myself and learning from their responses. Like literally just yesterday, I met with a donor and he had already been giving this organization a small amount of money. And I was asking him to upgrade to $500,000.
Okay.
It was over 2 years though. So I said, let's do 250 this year, 250 next year. But before I got to that ask, when I did the pitch, he asked me a question and he goes, okay, your group has had 112 million engagements. What the F does that mean? And it's a good question because a lot of groups tout their success in numbers. So it's my job to articulate what the tangible outcomes of something like that is. So a story. So 112 million people are engaging with us. Of those 112 million, 1,000 of them sent emails, made phone calls to the local city council. So your taxes did not raise last year because of that audience. The $2 million loan that was going to be provided to the local union from the city of Chicago, that didn't go through because of this audience. The head tax that was trying to be passed in the city of Chicago, that did not pass because of this audience. The fact that the mayor of Chicago has the lowest favorable rating of any mayor in the United States is because of that audience. So it's me connecting the dots for them of, okay, that's the investment is going to this infrastructure. And here's how the infrastructure is supporting the effort. And I think a lot of fundraisers go in with this vision and they tell a story of the mom that couldn't afford groceries or the business that couldn't get a license. And I think that was the old way of fundraising. We're pulling on the heartstrings, but it's not the heartstrings that are going to move big dollars. It's business impact. How are you helping the economy and making this the best possible place to live? That's what I'm looking for. And can a group actually do that? So to your original question, it's that ask, but it's also, is this mission really possible? And outside of convincing me of it, do I really think out of all the groups I've worked with, you're the one to get it done? I look at that.
Yeah, I think of, you're on this podcast called Extraordinary Stories. You're really, if I think of it, is the core of this storytelling, because you're really helping people find the narrative that's going to connect with that person to write that check, correct?
Yes.
And how do you, obviously you just shared a little bit, but when you go in and work with someone, because we know a lot of the same people that have foundations that you work with and such, and you literally give them confidence, meaning like you change how they think about themselves because that narrative. What do you do to do that? When you go in and you say, okay, I want to work with you, and they were here and now they're way up here. They literally are a different organization. They have different confidence. Share a little bit of how you take people from when you first say, I'm going to engage with you, to where you see that they're successful. And that's why you're getting referrals, because you don't get referrals without being successful.
So very first step is pitch me. Tell me why I should give you money. Ask me for $100,000 right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And they have to do it. They
Sure.
have to. We want to work together, I've got to know you have something.
Hey, let's prepare for
So-
meeting with Austin before he comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your pitch ready.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we're connecting extraordinary people. All right. And your $100,000 will help us build the network that is actually going to achieve all of the things that we've outlined about being more human. Human connection is the last frontier as we're in this age of exponential technologies. We can connect tens of thousands of high performing individuals so that they can come and find their own network. And all I need is $100,000.
Okay. So that was decent.
That
That was decent. But a couple things that you did well and did not do well. And this is how I really changed.
That's the first time he's ever asked for $100,000. I know that. So
Well,
for me, I'm actually like rooting the kid on. Like I didn't think he even had that in him. So,
but do you know how many people forget to ask for money? And then the key that you did there is you stop talking. So many times I have clients that'll say, we'd love for you to invest $100,000. And if you don't want to do it, it's okay. We can do it over 4 years, or, we really just need $25,000 for this project. That's what they do.
We can put that on layaway.
Yeah.
Put that on layaway.
Yeah. Just stop talking. It's
maybe next year's budget.
it's seriously, it is crazy to me that after somebody asks for money, they keep talking. When you work with me, you get all these templates. And after you give me your first pitch, I say, just there, okay, that's a good start. I want you to fill this template out, and I want you to come back to me in 48 hours, and we're going to do this again.
Okay.
And then after you fill that template out, I'm basically giving you a structure to craft a 7 to 12 minute pitch. Most of the time, people will go severely under that, or they'll go way over it. But it's okay. I let them finish. I time you. I record the call, and I grade you. I have a grading sheet. It's called the pitch scorecard, and it's 6 different areas that I'm grading you off of. And then at the bottom, it says what works and doesn't work. And you have that as something to lean into and to refocus your pitch. Like a couple of things you did. You talked about numbers. That's really important to donors. You talked a little bit about a story, how you're connecting all these people. But tell me about somebody that joined the network, and out of it, they gained 12 new clients to support their business for the next 10 years. Like, what is the outcome?
The outcome.
People don't talk about impact and outcomes enough when they're telling stories. They just say, doesn't this feel really good? And it's like, you are meeting with people that have built massive businesses, and they didn't do it off of feeling good. Most of them maybe missed a mortgage payment or two and had to hustle, provide results, metrics, numbers. I always tell people when they send me material to review, there's no metrics in this. This is too much fluff. Like, I think it's great what you're doing. I think it's a great vision, but as a donor, I would not give you money because you're not telling me what it's going to accomplish.
So let's pause for a second. Let's talk about golf. Because in your book, you lambast golf as the
I
frontier.
do.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Aaron is a former golfer as well.
Oh, it's a 4-letter word for sure.
Yeah. So the golf cart rides are fun. So is the booze cart. But outside of that, don't golf. So I do talk about this in my book a little bit. A lot of fundraisers who have been doing this for a long time think the best way to close a gift is on a golf course. A lot of people think the best way to broker a deal is on the golf course. It's an older way of thinking I'm trying to kill. It's a huge waste of money and time. You can get $1 million from a donor and earn that $1 million investment in a 20-minute conversation at their office. You don't need to spend 4 hours going hole by hole talking about things that neither you nor the donor are going to remember. Because guess what? Billionaires don't care the names of all your kids and what schools they're going to. They don't. And people do that. They want to get really personal. They want to, quote, build the relationship. I was guilty of that earlier on in my career. I admit that in the book of, I would get personal. I would make friends with these donors, but it wasn't my job to make friends. That's why I wasn't getting paid. And it's why at that time I wasn't raising enough money, because I thought, and I give this example. So let me touch on the golf thing, and I want to tell you about my friend Ellie. So with golf, huge waste of time. I don't golf myself. I think it's a fun sport. Do it on your own time. Don't do it for work, especially in fundraising. You could have several meetings in one day, but your competition is on the golf course all day. Like you're not winning here if you're golfing. You're winning if you're having 20-minute meetings every hour of the day. And it just a perfect example of investing too much time in relationships when it comes to fundraising is these donors need to have a relationship with who? The organization, not the fundraiser. The fundraiser is the liaison between the investor and the company. The company is the organization, because if you leave, what happens nowadays is a lot of donors leave with that fundraiser. They'll go somewhere else. I can say, okay, I'm raising money for the Goldwater Institute right now, and then I'm going to go to another group. So, hey, Jim, Bob, and Joe, come with me to this other organization because I'm leaving them. You don't want to do that. It doesn't help with longevity and sustainability. And if I'm interviewing fundraisers, which I do all the time, if they tell me, well, it's all about the relationship. I want to get to know them, understand what they care about. You do that in the meeting. You don't do it over 12 coffee dates. Like, I was guilty of this. One woman, her name is Ellie. I love Ellie. She's fantastic. She lives in Scottsdale. Ellie and I met once a month. She'd take me. She lived in a retirement facility, and she really cared about freedom and the economy in the United States. And so we talked politics for 2-3 hours every month. And I love talking with Ellie, but I realized Ellie's not giving me any money for this group. She's a friend now. So it changed the dynamic of my relationship with her, and it became a relationship. Fundraisers, I don't want them to be transactional, but I want them to be stewards of investments. That's what they need to do.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think, the world today and the ability to, you have connected with a lot of people. You are a trusted advisor. And I think it gets to the point after people write checks, and you have lots of donors that write checks to a lot of different organizations.
Yes.
They often come to you for advice.
Yeah.
So in that, you have in many situations, like I know that you've been on, with donors on private jets to go help them literally solve problems of their funding or their raising money, or helping them with their causes. There's a lot of billionaires that they obviously have relationships. They're like, I need Austin to help me get to other relationships. Explain that. How do you build those relationships? Because that's how I got to know you, is that your name kept coming up as the trusted relationship. So maybe it was in a time you were with Ellie's. Now you're just making things happen, or just what's the difference between now and then?
It's because I'm not misleading the donor during that pitch. I'm telling them exactly what we're able to accomplish with an investment of that size. And then after that gift is received, we're reporting back. Every month you're getting a memo. Every quarter you're getting a report. And that's where I'm different than a lot of others. Is a lot of people, they'll meet with donors once a year. They'll ask for money, but then that donor won't hear from them for 10, 12 months. And I always ask, why are you doing things this way? So one thing I teach my clients is create a system that makes that more manageable. I'm not asking you to create something custom for each donor, but if you raise $1 million for a program, off of 4 individuals, people giving you $250,000 each, report back to them on how that money is performing. Because when you go back the next year to ask for that money again, it may be pretty transactional to where they say, I loved what you did. Keep it up. Here's another $250,000. Sometimes I don't even have to ask. So it's interesting that people just don't feel the need to do that. But we're talking about serious capital. I mean, we have to treat this as a business. Fundraising is mission critical right now. If you don't have a good fundraiser for your organization, you're going to fail.
So my takeaway from that is the relationships built through the fact that their money is being stewarded and effectively used.
Correct.
Okay. I love that. Love that.
Yeah. Let's talk about trust. It's paramount in your business. Is paramount and extraordinary. Like you have a network. You have to trust when you bring 2 people together that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
That's how you protect your network, right? How do you cultivate trust and maybe even on a personal level? Like, how do you find out someone's trustworthy?
If someone shows up to a meeting with me, and you see this a lot of times, especially in kids, they kind of change their voice a little bit where it gets deeper, or like even the way I'm sitting right now, like, I'm kind of leaning, like I'm just talking to you guys casually. If someone comes to a meeting with me and they're like this, and they're saying, well, in fact, I'm going to, it's like that. Stop.
Furthermore.
Yeah. Like, this is not a speech. You're not running for president. All I asked was, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Nonetheless.
So if they could be authentic at that first meeting and say, listen, here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm not. Here's what I want out of this. That's being honest. And I'm looking for that. I'm not looking for somebody because I get this text all the time. Hey, Austin, I'm in town. Can we go grab lunch? And what I've now started saying, no, we can't grab lunch, but if you'd like to come to my office, I've got a half hour we could chat, And recently I had a buddy of mine do that. He was out from New York and he wanted to go to lunch, and he showed up and he goes, why didn't you want to go to lunch? I said, dude, what are we going to lunch for? Like, what do you want to talk about?
Business.
Yeah, we could have done this on Zoom. Like, just be real with me. And I think removing sort of that facade of, I'm up here compared to you really helps the person break down their walls a little bit.
You help people ask, and you want people to ask you. Like, let's get to the chase.
Yeah,
ask me
what do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need? I'd rather you just ask me what you need than give me some big fluff story. And that's the same thing with donors. I can't tell you earlier in my career enough where a donor would say, what can I do to help? And at one point I would say, we'd love for your support. What does that mean? And looking back, I'm like, I'm such an idiot. I should have said, well, I'd like for you to invest $250,000 in this effort. Okay. You told me what you need. Now the donor's going to decide what they're going to do. And people just don't do that. They go to these meetings and they don't ask for money, which just makes me insane.
How many times what you ask for, you get?
50-50.
And then when you don't get what you get, do they counter with something?
Usually. Yeah. So this is a great story that I think I can tell because he gave through a foundation. So Warren Stevens, current ambassador to the UK.
Okay.
Multi-billionaire, richest man in the state of Arkansas. At one point in my career, I was Googling conservative billionaires in the United States by state. And I started cold calling them all because I thought, I'm going to get myself some whales. And so I called Warren.
Myself some whales.
I called Warren Stevens. I know nothing about him other than he's a top Republican donor. Like, he's listed on all these forums. Like, I'm going to call this guy. He answers the phone and he says, hello, this is Warren Stevens. I say, Mr. Stevens, this is Austin Jack. I'm with X organization. I'd love to come and see you and talk about what we're doing. He goes, well, I have a few minutes now. Why don't you tell me what you're doing? And I panic. And I grabbed a brochure. I'm in my office. I grab a brochure and I said, okay, well, here's what we do. And I'm reading the brochure off to him. And it's because at that time, I didn't fully understand how ready you needed to be with the pitch. Now I've always got a pitch. But then it's like, okay, I'm gonna read this and tell him exactly what we're doing. This is our mission, vision, outcome. Yeah. And Warren goes, okay, I really like this. Next time you're out in Little Rock, why don't you come see me? And so 2 months later,
tomorrow.
2 months later, I had worked out with his assistant. I flew out to see Warren with my CEO, and we asked him for $250,000. Within 20 to 30 minutes. Cause now, because of that interaction, I made the best possible pitch I could. And so we went out to see Warren and we asked him for $250,000. Now, he didn't give that, but he gave something. So he gave us a 5-figure gift. And then every year after that, when we went back to see Warren, we asked for $250,000 again. And slowly but surely, every year, that gift got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now that organization has received hundreds of thousands of dollars from him because we made that ask at the first meeting.
Because of the cold call.
And when I talk with donors, I'm not expecting them to give me the full amount, but I'm articulating to them, this is where I want you to go in our relationship. This is where I'd like to see you at some point. And donors owe us nothing. I repeat this all the time. Donors don't owe us shit. This is their hard-earned money. If they want to give it to you, 100% up to them. Your organizations too many times think they're entitled to donor dollars, and they're just not. You've got to earn it, and you've got to maintain their trust. If you don't, you don't deserve money, and you don't deserve meetings.
And you got to respect it. Yeah. So I want to return to the human level. Aaron, this is a question for you. Aaron, you always talk about, and it's related to the ask, right? Aaron always says, just say what you want.
Yeah.
Don't say what you don't want. And so many times people are just saying what they don't want. And this goes to not just fundraising, but, other areas of business, relationships, friendships. Like, what's the humanness of that?
Well, I think the magic of what you're articulating is you're putting energy into what you want and what you want to create. You're not wasting times on things which most people waste their lives thinking and considering about all the things they don't want. In our goal, extraordinary, when you look at extraordinary people and we hear this over and over again, you're literally articulating that I know what I want. I'm very focused on it. I'm removing the distractions, and you get it over and over and over again. And that's why you create a successful career. And as Forbes said, when we are weeding through people to be on this podcast, a lot of times they'll tell us what they don't want. And that's a red flag. So anybody that wants to be on the podcast, make sure you do not tell us what you don't want.
We don't want that.
Yeah. If all of a sudden they're articulating clarity, I don't want to do this. And you realize that people are either, and this is, this of people, of human beings, is people are their own worst enemies. So their own belief system. I have this belief that, and it's why I've met you through several different.
It's why we have extraordinary.
It's why we have extraordinary is I believe that whoever I meet, they introduce me to their most important people. And I think you probably have that belief system as well. And that serves me well. And what happens is I go out and meet someone and they're like, hey, Aaron, I want you to introduce, and they're always introducing me to somebody fairly quickly. And that's how I built the extraordinary network that I've had. And I think we both share that common belief, whether you've actually articulated that, but it's your energy going into the world to be extraordinary is like how you create extraordinary results for all your clients and, put yourself in this position. Is that what you wanted out of that? I'm not sure
no, it was the humanness of, like, we're saying, come in, make an ask, right? You have to be prepared to always have your pitch ready. But, like, so many people focus on what if this goes wrong?
Yeah.
I always say, and this is like, you go into things and it's like, well, what if this goes better than I expected? I say that right before I go into a meeting.
So I have a great story for this. No relevance to business or fundraising or anything. But 8 months ago, I started jujitsu. So like a mixed martial arts workout deal.
Okay.
I love it. It's good exercise. I hate going to the gym. And I realized after my first son, I started to have issues getting like up from the ground after doing back time and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm about to have another one. I really need to like get it together. And I don't want to go run on a treadmill or anything. So I said, I used to wrestle a lot. So I said, okay, I'm going to go and take this class. And the coach, which is called a professor in jiu-jitsu, they always want you to fail during practice. They say, try a move so that you fail. And I catch myself every time I go that, I don't want this guy to beat me, but I really want to try this move out. And I apply that to my real life, that if I'm not seeking no's, and Alex Hormozy's wife talks about this really well on her podcast. She always says how you need to start looking for the no's in your business to get to the yeses. And it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu. I'm trying to look for the failures so I can learn how to do the move better. And in business, it's the same thing. I used to try to court clients for weeks at a time. Now it's a conversation and you tell me, do you want to work together or not? If you don't, it's no hard feelings. Here's some free resources. I always try to give people free resources. But to your point, being human, we've got to fail or you're not going to learn anything. It's, I think you've asked me this question of how much of the world do you know? And it's like, well, like not even a percent of a percent of a percent. Right? It's just, and you have to be humbled by that because there's so much knowledge to have. There's so many languages to speak. I wish I could speak different languages. Now, my cousins, they speak 3 languages, Mandarin, Russian, and English. I can't believe it.
They're ready for whatever comes.
I don't know what they're going to do.
World War III, they're safe if they go one direction or another.
But it's crazy. I think there's a thirst for knowledge you have to have in business. And if you don't have it, then that's on you.
Gotta take swings.
Yeah. It's wow. You have an extraordinary story.
Yeah. So we ask everyone on this podcast, Austin, what's next for you that's extraordinary?
I'm launching a podcast called The American Conversation. And I'm coming out behind the curtain. So historically, fundraisers have been part of that entourage I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, where we're in boardrooms and courtrooms helping these people raise serious capital and achieve incredible things in American society. And I'm starting to tell the stories of everything that has happened to me with the hope that people learn from it.
Yeah.
But also, I'm growing a business as part of that. So I've launched the Funding Freedom Movement, which is part of my book, Funding Freedom, a tactical guide to winning story, ask, and strategy. And I'm becoming a thought leader in the space. I don't know anyone out there that is doing this quite like I am. And I'm starting to coin myself the American fundraiser.
The American fundraiser.
Follow me, watch me, and let's raise some capital, man.
So the question probably I'm most curious about is, are politics in your future?
If I feel called at some point, I'd be open to it.
Austin Jack,
but
we're calling you to be a politician. We need more people like you.
Yeah.
But right now, no, I have no interest. I think what's going on politically needs to work itself out a little bit. The American people need to recognize not which side they're on, but what story they believe in. Do we want to be the founding America we once were? And an argument I'm making a lot right now in my circles are America's a startup. And it's time we recognize that. And we're still learning. We're going to make more mistakes. I mean, the last 100 years, gosh, look at how much has happened.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
a different world.
It's insane.
Yeah, iterate, fail fast. Well, you can read more about the American fundraiser, Austin Jack, at joinextraordinary.com. That's JOINEXTRAORDINARY.com. I'm Forbes Shannon.
I'm Aaron Bear.
And I'm Austin Jack.
Thank you so much. Hey, Austin, that was a lot of fun, man.
That was awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you next time.